Okay, this is a little continuation of the video I made yesterday about tapping the front of this block for pipe plugs. You can see I got the tap in my milling machine. You can use that to center it and start it. You can use it to do it the whole way. You got to be careful though. Here's the dot. If you put a drill bit in the chuck, this will start the tap dead nut straight. And once it does that, you can finish it off by hand with a crescent wrench or whatever. You just got to have a feel for the tap and know when it's going to break. Somebody said something yesterday about some cutting oil. Yep, I got cutting oil over there. I don't know where it is right now, but I don't usually use it when I'm tapping the block. You can though. But the big thing is the factory uses these cute little plugs, and most machine shops and lots of guys, when they put them back in, they don't put them back in right and they pop out and it tears your motor up. So here's a couple ways to put the plugs back in right if you want to use them and don't want to go through this. You take a punch and you make it fit the cap, or excuse me, the plug. And then you tap the plug in flush. And then you recess it just a little bit. And you want to swedge the block right here. Anywhere. Swedge it in 3 or 4 spots. Let me see if I can find a block around here that's swedged with factory plugs in it. Okay, here's what I did find. I found one that's done incorrectly. This is a 401, which is the same as a 109. Look down there. You can do it that way. Maybe GM was doing it that way. There's a little swedge mark right there. Here's one over here. What I found, and I've done this, I'm not afraid to say I've done it and screwed up. I've actually, instead of staking the block, I've staked the plug, thinking I was doing the right thing, and I've had the plugs pop out, and I've lost oil pressure. Now, luckily, I didn't lose an engine. I caught it, I fixed it, everything was fine, but I got an education. So let me find one that's got these plugs in it the factory way. Okay, so this is a losing battle today. This is not a 109, this is a hot air. You can see they're staked similarly, so I'm guessing GM must have been doing this before they changed it over. And I'm going to have to say that that's probably sufficient. Let me look for another block. Okay, so that's a big fail on Steve V's part. I know I've got some here that aren't torn down yet that are original, but I don't have any here that I've torn down that I haven't tapped. Usually one of the first things I do is knock all the plugs out. But if you stake them, you don't have to mess with this. I mess with it just because it gives me a little bit of extra insurance. What you got to be careful for is, see that oil hole? That feeds everybody. Okay, here it's coming in from the cam bearing. So the oil comes in up in here, hits cam bearing, runs all the way down Lifter Valley and runs down into the holes in the mains. If I restrict this, bye-bye engine and thousands of dollars real quick. So you got to be careful. On the passenger side, notice how much deeper that is. Just look at the blade of my screwdriver. Way deeper versus if I did the same. Okay, so here's what people have come up with throughout the years. These are the plugs that TA Performance sells. The green ones are TA plugs. All they are is 3/8 plugs. They put them in something and they machine them down, and that works great. You just got to be careful because sometimes you can strip them out. People don't know what tight is. They think 100 foot-pounds on a plug is bad. You don't want to jam these plugs in the front of the block and expand the block. Here's an aluminum plug that I found, quite expensive. These plugs here are from a 351 Windsor. Notice how the back is machined away. Notice how the back there is not. So you could drive this plug in a little bit deeper and it would be okay. What I'm going to do with this block is I'm going to take one of these guys here, which is just a regular 3/8 pipe plug that you can buy at Lowe's or Advance or wherever. And that's where it gets tight. So I'm just going to go ahead and whack that off with the milling machine. Same thing here, okay? So I'll whack them off with the milling machine They'll look like this when they're done. I just put them in there hair over hand tight. They're not going to come out. You can put some little Loctite on if it makes you feel better. And it's okay if they weep a little bit. And some guys drill a teeny hole up in here to oil the timing chain. You certainly can do that too. But that's just the procedure. I generally tap probably 90% of the motors I touch, just because I can. But there you go. There's more information.